And the Ukrainian prosecutor's office says 121 children have now been killed since Russia invaded Ukraine.
And there are reports from Kyiv of more deaths after a strike overnight on a shopping centre in the capital. ITV News' global security editor Rohit Kachroo is in Kyiv. There was a curfew in place, Rohit, but you're out again this morning. As you wander around the streets of that capital city, I mean, we can see clearly behind you some of the devastation, but just sum up what it is like there at the moment.
Well, morning, Susanna. It's bright, it's sunny, and the curfew, 35 hours long, is over, and the city is still in Ukrainian hands. But it's been a very noisy night right across the city. And, you know, what you can see behind me is part of it. This is a residential area. This is a shop behind me, a bank. You can see the damage, blocks of flats all across the street, also damaged too. Perhaps you can see it over my shoulder a little. What happened this morning, according to people who live nearby, is the sudden sound at 6:45 a.m. of 5 or 6 explosions in very, very quick succession. People talking about ground rockets perhaps being used, perhaps some sort of interception. But what's really significant about this area, and let me show you a bit more of it, because this is a heavily residential area. There's a busy thoroughfare which is going through the neighborhood. This is what you might call a very ordinary neighborhood. But what's so significant about this location is how close we are to the center of the city. This is 4 or 5 miles from the middle of town. And in the time that we've been here, and in the 28 days now of this conflict, I don't think we've been to the site of anything like this and seen so much devastation so close to the city centre, so close to the seat of power, so close to government buildings as well. And so this is, there weren't any reported injuries here. This isn't by far the worst kind of devastation that we've seen over the last few days, but it's certainly very close, and it indicates that this war is creeping closer to the centre of town. Overnight, we saw really heavy artillery fire. It was difficult for us to work out yesterday precisely what was happening because of this curfew, which limited our movements. We weren't able to get anywhere close up to see firsthand precisely what was happening. But as we looked in the northwest direction towards towns like Irpin and Hostomel, these small suburbs which have been the scene of so much fighting, we heard really loud explosions, bang after bang, all through the night. Heavy artillery fire, some small arms fire as well, closer to the center of the city, and then air raid siren after air raid siren. So yeah, it's really worrying. But what you really feel is that things are gradually getting closer at a time when we also hear that Russian forces are also being pushed back. It's difficult to work out what was happening yesterday on the edge of Kyiv, because we couldn't see it close up because we were watching it from several miles away. But, one theory is that the Ukrainian military had called this curfew to help themselves in this operation to try to encircle the groups of Russian forces who were on the outskirts of the city, on the outskirts of some of those suburbs. What we don't yet know is whether that operation was in any way successful.
Rohit, I mean, hearing you, there you are in a residential area. I've got my one eye on Twitter, and I'm hearing reports, and just in the last 30 minutes, that, Kyiv Independent reporting that there has been a hit on a shopping centre is reported, but also high-rise residential buildings and some private houses. You are in a residential area right now. How worried are you? I know you're there doing a job, but how worried are you about your safety? I watch you and various journalists across various channels. I think I just cannot sometimes fathom how you do what you do. How in danger are you at the moment?
Well, look, I mean, for us, the danger is...
It's like we lost the line to Rohit there, I think.
Can we go back? Because to leave it at the danger feels like a...
I don't think we can leave it there. I think hopefully it's just a technical glitch. It just tells you the situation they're in there. But it is quite remarkable, isn't it? It's so brave.
Rohit, you just stopped at the moment where were you about to explain what the danger is?
Well, I mean, for us, we're only the lucky ones because we can obviously reduce the risk. We arrive in the country with a whole load of protective equipment, some of the clothing I'm wearing, which is only a small portion of the kit that we come into the country with. But, you know, when we talk to people who live here, and this is, you know, I would say, and some of the people we've been talking to in this area this morning have said that roughly 40% of people have stayed behind, around 60% have moved out. You know, people all do recognise the risk. They know that things are getting more dangerous. And some of the people who we were talking to 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, who were...
I think we seem to be having some technical issues. We did well with him there for a few minutes. I think we've lost Rohit, unfortunately, in a residential of Kyiv. But I think we got a sense that they're so brave, aren't they? They don't want to talk about themselves, these journalists. They're there for a job. And
also, as Rohit said, you know, he's lucky to have the equipment.
Absolutely.
Because the 40% of people
40% of people are still there, and I wonder whether it's out of choice that they're still there or they're not been able to get out yet. But we wish them all well, and we wish Rohit and all the journalists who are doing sterling work out in Ukraine at the moment, wish you all well and safe, and I hope you stay safe.